Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pits of Metal and Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. Got a special guest, drag racer, musician, Dusty Rose. How's it going, Dusty?
Oh, pretty good, man. How's it going?
It's going good. You keeping yourself safe in these coronavirus times, or?
Man, I'm trying. I'm still working, though, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, same here. We got the letter from work to show to the police if we get pulled over, saying we're essential to be working. So, yeah.
Yeah, I am deemed essential, so I have that honor.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Once we get this, done and over with, you can start drag racing.
Man, I hope so. I was kind of bummed out. I was supposed to race next weekend down in Texas, and that got pushed back. But it is what it is. I understand. We're out there having fun. You gotta put people's safety first.
Then you can't even do any shows with the band either.
Yeah, I can't do that either, man. All the venues are shut down, and so everything I do is just kind of throwing a wrench in my operation. But it is what it is. We'll get through it and just kick some ass after that.
Yep. So how did you get into drag racing?
Man, I've been around drag racing my entire life. I mean, literally, the moment I was born. My dad has always been into it, and when I was a kid, he's a crew chief on a top alcohol funny car, so I would always go to the track with him when he was doing that deal. And actually, when I was like, 2 or 3 years old, my dad had his own automotive repair shop in Oklahoma City, and my playpen, or how he detained me in the Chevy 2 Nova. They didn't have seats and stuff in it. He was building it, so I just played in that thing while he worked. And but he did the funny car deal till I was about 6, or 6 or 7. And as soon as I could race, man. He dropped the funny car, and we started racing. 20 years strong, we're still going at it.
So I know you drove a Nitro funny car, and you had that big accident in 2016, was it?
Yeah, 2016, man. September 17th, 2016 in Tulsa.
The Nitro Nationals?
It was at the Nitro Nationals, yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, we're all thankful you're still here to talk about it.
Yeah, man, I'm a lucky guy. Looking back at it, I probably shouldn't be talking to you right now, but I am. Me being a drag racer, looking at the photos that, those photographers captured of that whole ordeal, I mean, I would look at it myself from an outsider looking in and be like, man, there's no way. Whoever was in that car, they're dead. No question, So I'm real thankful to be here, I shouldn't be. I was given a second chance, I feel like, at life. And, nobody wants to die doing something they love. And, got my family here, so I'm thankful for that, Because when I was in that accident, my wife was 8.5 months pregnant.
Wow.
So it was not a good time at all. I felt terrible. She's in her final stages, about to have a child, and she's taking care of me. I can't even walk, but she stuck it out, man. I'm thankful for her. If it wasn't for her, I would have been laid up in bed and been by myself.
Well, good thing you have a wife that loves you so much.
Yeah, I haven't figured out why she does yet, but she stays around, so.
So how long did it take for you to get back to walking again?
Man, I could walk. It was just like, because my knees got burned really bad. 3rd-degree burns right on my kneecaps and right around. So it was really tough to move to walk and bend my legs right there in that joint. So I just kind of shuddered around like a penguin for a while. But I mean, man, at least 6 months before I could somewhat walk normal. And of course, my hand got the worst part of it, my right hand, which I'm right-handed, so that was tough.
So now, what class of drag racing did you first start drag racing in?
Say that again?
I said, what class of drag racing did you first start in?
Man, I started junior dragsters when I was 7, and I did that until I was 16, and then we got a 72 Chevy Nova. It was a big tire car, but it just had a little 355 small block in it. It was a bracket car, but I did a lot of index racing in it. It wasn't super fast, but, I was 16, so it was fast to me. It run I think it ran like 760s or 750s in the 8th mile, It was a high 11 to low 12-second car. But, man, I had the time of my life in that thing. Sometimes I wish I still had it. I won a couple of championships in it back-to-back in 2011 and 2012. And then at the end of 2012, I sold it and bought my front motor dragster chassis, and had it ever since.
Now, how about in junior? Did you do good in junior?
Man, I did well. Probably the highlight or so, 2002. So I would have been 10 years old. Went up to Denver at Vandermeer, and I made it down to the quarterfinals out of probably 50 or 60 cars. It was a junior dragster national, so everybody from all over the country just met in the middle. And I made it down to the quarters in my class. I mean, that was a pretty big deal to me at the time because, I've always raced low budget, because, we don't have a lot of money. I feel really lucky to have what I have. And, one thing I'll never forget was I pulled up, I think it was first round. I drew this other kid, and hell, his car was painted. It was all pretty motivational tubing down the side, like fully sponsored by Motivational Tubing, the chassis builders, and the mom and dad had the silk crew shirts on, and brand new car, best of everything. And I'm come from Purcell, Oklahoma, and I got hand-me-down stuff, and I remember looking over at him, and I told my dad, I was like, "Man, Dad, they got really nice." I was 10, I was like, "Man, they got really nice stuff." And my dad was like, "Don't worry about who's over there, just run your race." And I ended up beating him. And hell, that car was in magazines and stuff, but it was cool, because like I said, we're just a low budget. I mean, I think we towed up there on a damn boat trailer, like that my dad makeshifted, and it was an old boat trailer, and that's how we towed those cars up there. So it was cool to get to do that and go some rounds, and you got the best kids all over the country meeting in one spot. But I won a lot of races locally in the juniors. I mean, I've got boxes of trophies. I don't even have a place to put them. They're in my shed, boxed up in the backyard.
So now, how was the experience like for you to go into a front engine dragster?
Man, it was cool. I've always wanted. I love old school stuff. Always wanted to drive one, and I was talking to my dad one day, and I told him, I was like, "Man, it'd be." We went down to Ardmore Dragway down here. It's about an hour south of me, and they were doing a nostalgia event. I took the Nova down there and was bracket racing it, and they had some front motor cars there, and I was just like, "Man, that'd be badass to drive one of those," because I love old school. I'm a huge Dom Perdome fan. He's kind of my hero. I mean, hell, I've got 2 Dom Perdome tattoos, So I really wanted one, and then I never really thought too much about it. And I go over to my dad's house one day, and he's on Racing Junk looking at chassis for front motor cars, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, I'm just looking." Nothing really came about that, and then we got a phone call that there was a brand new car down in Tishomingo. Actually, Bob Bolton built it, which he's been around forever. I think he started building race cars in 1958 or 1968, one of the two. And he had this car that he finished building. And, I mean, it's kind of a sad story how it came about. But, I mean, long story short, him and his son started building it together to run Junior Fuel. And right after the chassis was done, his son passed away unexpectedly. So, and the car was built for his son. So the car was just sitting there. And so we were told it was down there, and we called Bob, and we went down there to look at it. And I sat in it, and I fit in it. It's a little tight on me because it was built. I'm 6'1". It was built for a little shorter guy, but I still fit in it. Long story short, man, I put the Nova up for sale, turnkey. A guy out of Kentucky drove to Oklahoma City and bought it. Called Bob, went down there, picked the chassis up. It was a roller, brand new car, last car he ever built, which is kind of cool for me because it's kind of a little piece of history because everybody knows who Bob Bolton is, you know, chassis builder.
Right.
So I've got his last car, and it was kind of cool for him. You know, and he told us, he's like, I'll be real with you guys. The only reason I sold this to you two was because you're gonna take it and go race it like me and my son were going to, and I never got to do that. So it was cool to have it, and I still touch base with Bob, you know, probably once a year and let him know how the car's doing and what we're doing, what we got going on, because, you know, Bob's got to be pushing 80, if not in his 80s, you know. So just kind of want to let him know what his last piece of art's doing, but I'll probably never get rid of it. I mean, I love that car. It's been a great car. It drives good, and you know, Bob told us, he was like, man, I put every ounce of knowledge, learning experience, trick, trade that I learned over my 50 years of building cars. He was like, I put all of that into this one car. He was like, because I was going to go beat everyone's ass in it. He's like, I was going to outrun everybody. And, man, it's been good to me. I can tell you that.
Now, you run on Aka or Nitro?
Yeah, so my front motor car is I've had a few different motors in it. I started out with a 350, but right now I've had this motor in there for a couple of years. It's a Dart. It's a 400 cubic inch small block that it's hat injected on methanol, so it's alcohol. And man, it runs really good. The car's super light. That motor makes quite a bit of power for what it is, so it runs pretty good.
So now you haven't drove Nitro since the accident?
I have not, man. You know, I want to again one day, but it'll probably be in the future down the road. You know, Gary and Susan Doke, they're out of Kerrville. I was driving their funny car. You know, the bucket list was theirs. And, you know, after that happens, you know, Gary told me, he's like, man, I'm rebuilding this car. And he was like, and I want you to come back and be my driver. But, you know, at the time I had so much stuff going on with my son about to be born. And, you know, I feel like I escaped death once. And I at the time I just could not commit and do it again because I had just had so much going on, and I didn't feel like it would be fair to my wife and child to damn near get killed, should have got killed, and then just hop right back in it. You know, so I declined the offer. I still love Gary and Susan. I talk to them all the time, and Nick Polson's driving it now, and he's doing a fantastic job. I mean, he's a hell of a driver and a good friend of mine, so I was glad to see him hop in it. And then, you know, they've been pretty successful with it, which is good. You know, I love seeing that. But for now, no. In the future, would I like to get back in another one? Yes. And I hope I get the opportunity to.
Yeah, you're still young.
Yeah, man, you know, a lot of people call me crazy for still racing at all. But, you know, it's part of who I am. You know, I got to drive a Nitro funny car at 24 years old. I mean, there's not very many people that can say they've done that.
Right.
You know, so I'm very thankful and fortunate that I ever even got the opportunity. You know?
Yeah, that drag racing stays in your blood for life.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about your band that you think for a little bit. The Dead Aces. How long's that band been together?
Man, that band has been together for about 3 years now. You know, I had a band before that, and we kind of dismembered. that I got this group of guys with me now, and they're all really good friends of mine. So we have a lot of fun doing it. You know, no drama or nothing like that. We just go up there and have fun. But about three years or so, we've been going at it and playing around Oklahoma City, and got to do some pretty cool stuff with that.
Now you guys do all that good, like Warrant and all those other bands from the 80s?
Oh yeah, man. We play pretty much all 80s hair band stuff. You know, the Warrant, the Poison, Alice Cooper. We play some Steelheart, Doke, Rat. You know, all the fun stuff. You know, that's why we do it, to have fun. So we might as well play fun music that people love. You know.
Now, do you guys get a lot of people out of your shows?
Man, we do, and I kind of strategically do it that way, you know, because we are a cover band, but we only play once every 2 months or so, or 3 months. You know, some cover bands, they'll play every weekend, and they kind of wear themselves out as far as pulling a crowd, but every time that we play, it's for a decent crowd.
So at what age did you realize you can sing?
Man, so singing. So I started playing guitar when I was like 14. I never cared to sing at all until, honestly, like it was like my senior year of high school. I was 17, and I took choir as a blow off class. Like, I need a extra credit. Well, I'll take choir. You know. So I took that. I love music anyway, but I did not care to sing whatsoever. Had no inspiration to do it at all. Didn't care to.
You wanted to be the flashy lead guitar player.
Yeah, so I take choir, and my choir teacher, his name is Mr. Gonzalez. One day he pulls me aside and he's like, "Hey, man, like, I know you took choir as a blow-off class." He's like, "But let me tell you," he's like, "you got a decent voice." He's like, "You should take it serious." And I was like, whatever. He's like, "No, for real, take it serious." He was like, "You're decent. I hear potential." So I started taking it serious, and from there, I mean, I ended up going to state and choir and all that stuff. I never stopped after that. And I kind of owe that to him for even telling me to pull my head out of my ass, you know, and because I never, like I said, I never had any inspiration to do it at all. At all. Right. And like, I really hardly ever pick up guitar anymore when we play live shows. I've got two phenomenal guitar players. So I have no need to pick one up, and I don't like being tied down. I move around a lot, you know. I have a wireless mic, and I like running around and going down to the crowd and having fun and interacting with them. So, you know, I'll pick my guitar up at my house, but as far as live, I mean, I might play it on 1 or 2 songs a night, if that, mainly just one. So it's kind of weird that you asked me about the singing thing, because I did not care to sing at all until my senior year of high school.
Now you love being the front man.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's just something I picked up, and, you know, nobody's thrown any beer bottles at me or anything yet, or tell me to get the hell off stage. So, thankful for that. But it's like I said, going back to it, and I still talk to my choir teacher from high school every now and then. He'll come out and come to one of my shows. But if it wasn't for him telling me to wake up and, hey, man, you got something, use it, there's no tell. I mean, I've gotten to do some really, really cool stuff playing music that I never dreamed of. I mean, you know, I've always loved 80s rock, but I've gotten to open for some bands that, hell, I mean, I had posters of them on my wall in high school. And then you fast forward, and I've played shows with them, which is insane, you know. I never dreamed of that.
So what national bands have you opened for?
Man, I've played with Faster Pussycat several times. I've played with LA Guns several times, which LA Guns is cool because, you know, Tracy Guns, the guitar player for LA Guns, you know, he actually started Guns N' Roses with Axl Rose. Right. That's how they got the name Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
and he ended up leaving to start LA Guns, and that's when they brought Slash in. I'm not saying they would have blown up if Tracy would have stayed. Who knows?
Right.
Nobody does. But talking to Tracy's cool. My son is actually named after Guns N' Roses. His name's Gunner Rose. But LA Guns, I played with the Bullet Boys. Enough's Enough. I played shows with Mike Tramp from White Lion, Kip Winger from Winger. Enough's Enough. Who else, man? I got to play with a pretty cool version. It was actually another Tracy Guns band, but they called it Gunzo. It was Tracy Guns playing guitar, and then on bass they had Rudy Sarzo, which was cool as hell to watch him play because he played with Ozzy and Randy and Quiet Riot, yeah. But played with Ozzy and Randy, and I'll never forget, man. We were loading into that show, and I was sitting there watching Rudy restring his bass, and I swear he restrung that whole bass and tuned it in like 20 seconds, like he had done it before,
Yeah.
Super nice guy. Biggest show I've probably played, though, I've gotten to play with Black and Blue and Bang Tango, but man, the biggest show I probably got to play was just last October here in Oklahoma City. I got to open for Sebastian Bach, which was insane.
Wow, that's when he played the whole first Skid Row album, right?
Oh, dude, it was he played the first Skid Row record front to back, and I got that call, and actually my other guitar player Justin Shipley, he already had a vacation scheduled out of town, and I was like, hey guys, I just got a call from this promoter for the Diamond. They want us to play this show. Can you guys do it? And, immediately Shipley was like pissed. He was like, dude, I'm going to be out of town. And he was like, but you guys go ahead and play. Like, you don't get that opportunity very often.
Right.
Which was cool of him, because we've got Billy, the other guitar player, and they're both equally insane. I mean, so we could play the show without Shipley. I mean, we got his blessing. But, Oklahoma City, the music scene's okay, it's not like Dallas or even Tulsa. Tulsa's music scene's pretty big, but Oklahoma City, sometimes it's hard to get people out and stuff like that, but we've always had great support. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Sebastian Bach, it's not Skid Row, but to me, Sebastian Bach is Skid Row. I was like, there'll probably be like 200 or 300 people there. No, there was like 500 or 600, and I've never played for a crowd like that. And it was like, I can't even explain the feeling, because, me as a front man, when I play in bars and in clubs and stuff, people go to bars to drink, okay? Right. That's their number one priority. And then they go to socialize. And number three, usually the band is just entertainment / background noise. So sometimes you play a club or a bar, you don't have their full attention. Right, well, at the Diamond Ballroom, it is a concert venue only. There's tables in there, but they're in the way back. It's a huge place. And so those people are there for for a show. Right. And, man, that whole time, full attention, no cell phones were out, unless they were recording or something, but, their face weren't buried in their phone. I mean, it was crazy, man. Never had a crowd like that before. I mean, the reaction that we got, I mean, it was cool. And we gained a lot of publicity / fans from it. I mean, people were coming up to me after we got off stage wanting to know where we were going next, if we had T-shirts, if we had CDs, taking pictures. And, I mean, they were making me sign stuff. And I'm like, man, I'm just wasting the ink and the Sharpie. I'm nobody. And they're like, I don't care. You guys were amazing. Sign this for me. I was like, all right, whatever. But it was a killer show. I mean, I was on a high for that show for about 2 months after we played that.
Now, do you guys have any original songs?
No, not yet. No, I've talked to Billy and Shipley about it, and we might try and crank out a few. They're both really talented musicians, and as far as writing and stuff like that. So I think in the future we're going to try and do some originals and kind of put it out there, and that'll just open our. We don't expect to go anywhere with it. We all have full-time jobs and families and stuff. It's not like we're trying to make it big, but just to put it out there and kind of broaden the horizon for us, and people want to hear original music, we'll try and give that to them. in the future.
Now, how did the name Dead Aces come about?
Man, so the band I had before, they wanted to call it the Dusty Rose Band because they liked my name, which a lot of people think it's a stage name anyway, which it's not, but it's my birth-given name. But it's different. It's cool. People don't forget it. But I hated it. I did not like the Dusty Rose Band at all because I just don't want people to think like I have some kind of ego that I need stroked that my band's named after me, Yeah. So I hated it. Man, I was just sitting back one day and I'm like, man, I'm going to put this new band together and I am not using the Dusty Rose Band at all. And I had a couple things in my mind. Man, I can't even remember what the other ones were, but I just I've always liked the spade, and stuff like that, and I like skulls and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, the Dead Aces sounds cool. It's a cool band name, I think. So I ran it across to the guys, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, let's use that." So it just stuck, and it's been that ever since.
Awesome, man. All right, so now, do you have any? Well, you can't have any shows coming up right now till the coronavirus stuff's done, but.
Yeah, we had one booked. We were going to play a benefit show and it might still happen. I don't know yet. We just got to play it out and see. But I think it was April 18th. We're going to play in Oklahoma City doing a benefit show for our buddy here. He's a local musician, Michael Cole, but he just had like a heart transplant and I think kidneys too, all at the same time. And it was on the fence whether he was even going to live or not. But he got to go home a couple weeks ago. He's kicking ass and everything, and we're going to do a benefit show for him. And there's like 8 bands playing. And we were going to be a part of it. I don't know if it's still going to happen yet or not. I haven't heard just because of all the craziness going around, but that was going to be our next show. After that, it's like I said, it's open. Everybody's booking schedule's all messed up from this whole virus thing. And so when we're playing next, it's supposed to be April 18th. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but we'll see. Only time will tell.
Yep. Yeah, I see a lot of bands now doing virtual shows on Facebook now.
Yeah, and I think me and Shipley, our guitar player, we were talking about that the other night. I think we're going to do one, maybe try and raise some money, do like a PayPal thing if people want to virtually tip or whatever, and then probably donate the money to one of the venues that, have to shut down because, they can't be open. And, because all the bartenders and waitresses and stuff, they're probably not getting unemployment. I'm not sure how that works with a bar and venue, but, everybody's got bills and they got to eat and they got electricity and water. So I think we're trying to pull something together to maybe raise some money for one of those clubs that we play at and donate it to them.
That'd be cool. All right, now back to your drag racing now. So besides Down the Snake Prudhomme, you have any other, influences in drag racing?
Man, naturally, I love Larry Dixon. I just think he's a badass. And he used to drive for the Snake. I'm a big Ron Capps fan, and I love Tommy Johnson Jr. But Antron Brown, too. I love that guy. I got to hang out with him down in Ennis. And that guy is like the most humble, genuine human being I think I've ever met in my life. You can tell he does not forget where he came from. When I was down there in Ennis, I'll never forget it. He's sitting there mixing fuel, which when you mix nitro, you got to pay attention. You can't make a mistake because if you're running 95% and it's 94, that's a problem. Or if it's 96, that's a problem. It's got to be 95. He was in the middle of mixing fuel, had his hydrometer out and everything. This little girl walks up and she's standing there, and he's all of his stuff down right in the middle of mixing fuel and goes over there, signs her shirt, takes pictures with her, and like that said a lot to me, because he's doing his job and mixing fuel, but he just completely stopped everything just for that little girl, which was cool.
Yeah.
But he's a super, super dude. But, naturally you gotta like John Force too, because he's kind of the goat of the funny cars, and I love funny cars, but ultimately it's the Snake. but those are a few of my favorites under him.
So now, currently for your Dragster, who are your crew members?
So, man, right now it's just my father, Milt Rose, and then one of my best friends. His name's Stephen Boyd. So we kind of go as a three-piece. Last year, I had one of my good friends, Brandon Posey, helping me. But he is a sergeant in the Air Force, and this year he's going to be deployed, which, I thank him, and I pride him for his service to our country. So he's not going to be with us this year, which sucks because he's a phenomenal help. But, we'll push through it, and, I'll just have to pick up some extra duties, which is fine. I don't mind at all, whatever's going to get us down the track. But it's going to suck missing him this year, but we'll make it through. Like I said, my dad's always been my biggest support as far as going to the track with me. It's just we know each other. We've been doing it 20 years, and I'm thankful for that, man. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I'm so thankful I get to do that with my father, and we've already had the conversation that we're going to do this as long as we can, as long as he can get his ass in the truck and go to the track. But, he's 66 or 65. He'll probably kill me for saying he's 66, but he's 65. And he's like, man, I'm going to go until I can't go anymore.
Now, when you're out on the track, for you, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions when you're out there?
Man, I do. So I've got some rocks in my pocket of my fire suit that my son picked up when he was like 2, and he gave them to me, and I've had those in my pocket ever since. But man, I just, like, after they buckle me in and they pull me up, before they ever started, I just kind of sit, and I just kind of talk to myself, I'm not a huge religious person. It's not like I sit there and pray, but, I just kind of talk to myself, and go over everything, and just hope I make the right decisions as a driver, and, just go out there and do the best I can, But, yeah, I just sit there in my car, and they know not to bug me, because I'm just sitting there doing my thing, getting in the mood. But, Superstition. Every time I race, I know this is crazy, I wear the exact same underwear. Every time I go to the track. Same underwear. Every time I race, I wear the same underwear. That's about it. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Now, do you have any sponsorship at all?
Man, I not a whole lot. I've got a few people that help me out. I got to thank Boyd's Racing Engines. They don't necessarily sponsor me, but my dad does work down there on the counter, so of course they do give us a decent cost on parts. But it's not about the money; it's the knowledge that I gained from that place, as far as putting the motor together and stuff like that. Troy Green, he's kind of the main shop guy there, and he actually is he crews on Tony Bartone's alcohol funny car, that is basically could not be defeated last year. I think Sean Bella, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Bellemere or Bellemu, they basically just swept everybody last year, but he crews on that car. But, he picked up the cam and had it custom ground for that motor, and he's smartest guy I've ever talked to when it comes to engines. But so Boys Racing Engines, just this year I picked up a company called Vet Lights. They make aftermarket lights and stuff for Corvettes, and they're really killer LED lights. Grand Machine in Oklahoma City, they helped me out a little bit. That's pretty much it. Lander Chevy down in Norman, Lander Chevrolet, Norman, Oklahoma, they helped me out some, but I don't have a whole lot, but anything helps me. Even if it's like $300 that goes a long way with me, just because, like I said, we are a low budget team, and if I kick a rod out of a motor, which I haven't done, thankfully, I'm done for a long time. I can't recover from that. So anybody that helps me out, man, I'm so thankful for it, because they don't have to do that. Even there's a small sign shop down in Purcell, Oklahoma, where I grew up, called Sheehy Signs. They provided all the lettering and stickers for my car, and donated them. So anything, I'm thankful for. All
right. So now, what kind of preparation goes into getting that dragster ready for a weekend of drag racing for you?
Mine is pretty low maintenance, which I like. We'll probably run the valves, check them. Man, really, I set timing, and I'll make, depending on the air and the weather and what it's doing, I might make a jet change in the barrel valve. But other than that, man, it's pretty straightforward. Tire pressure, check timing, set valves, look at my weather station, see what kind of jet I need to put in the barrel valve, and I'll just send it and see what happens. And then from there, we'll come back and make our adjustments and stuff like that. But it's pretty straightforward, and I like it, because I like racing and having fun. When it gets to be too much work, sometimes it takes the fun out of it if you're not getting paid and you're spending money, But we're pretty low maintenance, and I like it that way.
Now, what are some of your favorite tracks to go race on?
Man, probably recently my most favorite is going to be Extreme Raceway Park down in Ferris. It's a brand new facility, beautiful, state of the art. Man, my favorite was North Star Dragway down in Denton, and they're shutting down this year. They're not running this year, which kind of broke my heart because I love that track. I've won a lot of races at that track. But it's no more. So Ferris, Texas at Extreme is just an insane facility. If you've never been there, you need to go. It's like a little baby Ennis, Texas Motorplex. I mean, it's unreal how nice it is. And then I love Ardmore, man. It's kind of a little, it's a small track. It's been around forever. I believe it's the oldest continuously operated drag strip in the country. There's older ones, but they've shut down and reopened. And I think Ardmore opened in 1958, and it's never closed. So I love going down to that track. Plus, it's close to home. It's only about an hour from me. So.
Do you ever go to Mocan?
I have never been to Mocan yet, but I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this whole coronavirus thing. But I'm going to try and go there this year because I know they do some nostalgia racing, and I want to go.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from, Dusty?
Man, my fire suit, DJ Safety, I would never wear anything but. The Big Ben out in Los Angeles, man, he's the homie. He made me a killer fire suit, and he reached out to me after I was in my fire, and he cut me one hell of a deal on that fire suit because it's a top fuel suit. It's a 20 layer. Cut me a deal on the suit and on the boots and the gloves, and for him to do that for me was just unreal. I didn't know him, never met him, never heard of him. He called me up, man. Actually, John Hill gave Ben my number and was like, "Hey, call this kid, man. He needs some help." And he did, man. And he treated me like I'd been doing business with him for 20 years.
That's awesome.
And I talked to him. Yeah, I mean, hell of a dude. I mean, he'll stick his neck out for a drag racer in a heartbeat. So, my fire suit, my boots, and my gloves, DJ Safety, and then my helmet, Impact Racing. I love all those guys up there. They treated me so fair. They treated me too good after I got in that accident because I had an Impact helmet on when I was in that fire, and I really kind of credit that helmet to saving my life because it did. And man, they sent me a brand new Nitro Impact helmet, and it blew me away because that's a $high helmet, and they did not have to do that. And Robbie and Kelly, Robbie Pierce and Kelly, I mean, they're just amazing human beings. I still talk to them all the time. Robbie Pierce got inducted into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame a year or so ago, and Kelly called me and asked me to be a part of his induction ceremony. We made a video and stuff, so I got to be a part of that, which was a true honor. Some Okie from Purcell, Oklahoma, on some big screen in Las Vegas talking about Robbie while he's getting inducted into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. It was an honor for me, but I got Impact seatbelts. I mean, I'm Impact and DJ Safety. That's all I'll ever wear, as long as I'm getting in a car.
So what's been your quickest pass in the dragster?
Fastest pass in the dragster. I think it went 481 in the eighth. It's like 148 or something like that. It was a really good air. I mean, that thing will run mid to high 480s all day long, but I pull timing out of it and stuff so I can run that 5-flat index.
Now, go ahead.
Oh no, the dragster is just so fun to drive, man. It's quick for what it is. I mean, it's the small block. I want to say it made like 681 on the dyno, but you strap that thing into a 1,400-pound car and it flies, you know.
So now, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your racing career?
Man, probably one, getting to drive a Nitro funny car. Two, man, in the dragster, I won back-to-back championships in 2014 and 2015. And 2015 was like a unreal fairy tale season for me. The whole entire season, I lost 2 rounds. I lost once in the semis, and I lost once in the finals. Every other race I went to, I won, which was unreal. You know, I couldn't. The car could not have been any better, and I did the best I could driving it, and I got lucky a lot, but that's racing. And so going a season and losing 2 rounds all year is something I will probably never do again. But it was one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Now, outside of doing the band and the drag racing, do you have any other hobbies?
Man, just hanging out with my family, really. You know, I like working, if you consider that a hobby. But, you know, band and drag racing, you know, I really can't afford to do anything else. For whatever reason, I was dumb enough to pick 2 hobbies that are not cheap in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, I used to play softball. I love baseball, and I played football in high school, but I used to play softball 2 nights a week until I got hurt. And then ever since I got hurt, I never went back because my hands is not really the same as it used to be. And, you know, I'm getting old, bud. So I used to play softball, but I quit doing that. I hadn't played that in, 3 or 4 years, but that's about it, man. I just race and play music and spend time with my son and hang out with my family.
So what's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve? Man, honestly, probably it sounds stupid, but when somebody calls, a magazine and a gun, when they call it a clip, it just drives me nuts. And I don't know why. Like, it's a magazine, it's not a clip. I mean, that wears me out, but and probably just idiots on the internet talking about their uncle's car that they've never seen, saying it's faster than yours.
Now, for people to find out where you're going to be running at when you actually do start running this year, what's the best way for people to follow you?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page. I've got my personal one. You can look me up on there and follow me or add me, Dusty Rose. But I've got a Dusty Rose Racing Facebook page that I keep updates on that, and then I have a band page too, the Dead Aces. You can, we always post where we're going to play, etc. on there. So, if you're wanting to follow me or find out where I'm going to race next or find out where I'm going to play next, that's going to be the best place to find it.
Yeah, I think I did post Dead Aces, the link for the band page on the event that I made on Facebook. I believe it's on there. Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. Thanks for sharing that, and hopefully somebody will check us out a little bit and maybe come see us if they're in the area. Yep. Well, Dusty, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do an interview, man. Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me. We'll do another one in the future. Yeah, anytime, man. Call me. You got my number. I'd be more than happy to help you out any way I can and chat with you, buddy. Yep, save my number. I'll save your number. I'll do it, man, for sure. All right, you have a great night, Dusty. Hey, you too, buddy. Thanks, man. All right, bye. Bye-bye.